Hello and welcome to our very first Loud Women Open Green Room. I'm Cassie Fox, and we're joined here today by Stephanie Phillips and Estella Adeyeri of Big Joanie. Hello. Thank you for joining us in the Loud Women Green Room. And our hosts today are Ngaire Ruth, legendary music journalist and academic and all-round good egg. And another good egg and musician and all sorts of things. Um, Julie Riley, who's our lady in Hastings, who is going to be hosting Big Joanie in a few weeks' time, 29th of June, I believe.
Right, yeah.
Louder Mini Festo at the Piper in Hastings. So without further ado, I shall hand over to Ngaire. We've got some guests coming in now. Welcome. Make yourself comfortable. There's a Q&A chat you'll find at the bottom of the screen. So as we go along, do feel free to pop your questions into the Q&A, and at an appropriate moment, we'll ask those questions. But yeah, over to you, Ngaire.
Oh, I've interviewed Stephanie before. Estella, it's really nice to meet you and talk to you. How are rehearsals going for the dates ahead?
Yeah, they've gone well. I mean, we're not like a super into rehearsals band. I think we're still kind of very old school DIY. And so we've done and also we've been kind of touring for a while now. So we kind of know the set and we've been practicing with the band. But I think it's going well. So we're just really looking forward to getting back on tour because it's been a while since we've been out really.
Back on
Yeah,
the
we,
whirly bird.
yeah, we haven't played a full band show since November at Earth in
Ah,
Hackney. We've just played at Girls Zine Fair in the South End. We did an acoustic set, and we did an impromptu acoustic set for Decolonise Fest, who Steph and I both volunteer with already, and it was kind of a serendipitous opportunity. It was in Birmingham, and that's where Steph lives.
that
And
is quite goosebumps. So 'cause I work with a lot of students from Birmingham, music undergraduates, and they're just
Okay.
so motivated. You know, so tell me about that. Tell me about Decolonize Fest. And when was that?
So
do
yeah,
you want to talk about this stuff?
yeah, so we've that was kind of a couple of months ago. We got some funding from PRS Foundation.
Yes, PRS actually came up with something.
Yeah, yeah. And so we kind of had the idea to do kind of mini versions of Decolonize Fest and take kind of the idea that we have in London and bring it across the UK to kind of communities of colour that might not be able to get to London, but probably still need something like Decolonize Fest in their local area. So we had the first one in Glasgow last year, and then Birmingham was this next one, and we're going to be doing one in Leeds later on this year or kind of early next year, but it's all kind of centered around bringing together kind of local bands of color and creating a kind of community hub and spreading decolonize throughout the UK. So yeah, we've been doing that for a while, and we're getting ready for the this year's festival, which is going to be in September in London. So yeah, we're still kind of going and doing our best.
Yeah. So we need to know about that, the news on Loud Women. So that was your core idea. Did you go to PRS or did they come to you, if you don't mind me asking?
Decolonize Fest. We kind of applied for the open fund at PRS Foundation and
And
put
you went for it. Oh, so many congratulations.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
really nice. It's hard
that's
to
what you want to know.
yeah. It's
And
definitely
that's,
funding, and so it's good that we're able to get that for that kind of bunch. It's just making sure we have enough funding for the festival, which is always really difficult every year. And so we've been crowdfunding, but that is really hard still as well. And so making it kind of last and make it kind of more sustainable is something we're still kind of figuring out.
Yeah,
mm,
I think we've just taken on some new volunteers as well. So the core team Decolonise Fest is about 10 people. But, you know, as you obviously know, Cassie, as well, it is still really hard to keep a DIY festival going. There's a lot of volunteer labour and a lot of, like, you know, kindness from the community involved to
But
sustain us.
and when I wanted to find out about you today, I knew the first place I can go to catch up would be your website. And I know that you're in control of your website. And I just love the fact that the brand machine is entirely up to you. And so today, because I'm 63, it's like, is it all just feminist punk? What's it for? We still have to shout about everyday sexism. We still have to let everyone know we're there. We still have to provide those gigs that Cassie and Julie provide. But for me, where's the progression? Because I'm like that. And that's what I got today. Look, but it gave me hope again, and it was very exciting. So that
I
is
think
sort of like a rhetorical question.
Uh, yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. I think we're definitely kind of, I mean, those are the things that just happen because, like all of us, we started in the DIY punk scene, and there was never any kind of, I never really considered the music industry, the real music industry, as having anything to do with what we were doing. You know, whether it was my previous band or Estella's previous bands or kind of Big Joanie, it was always just, I was just interested in what the bands around us, like Trash Kit and Actual Crimes. And I remember seeing Shopping's first
I
gig,
was just going to say shopping.
like the pre-shopping band, Covergirl, was it? Like where they kind of all swapped interests every other song. Um, but yeah, it was always about kind of impressing other people. So we never had an idea of creating a brand. We never wanted anyone to speak for us. And the kind of idea of the band is about Black women, about the fact that, we exist in a world that is so hyper-capitalist, so racist, sexist, so queerphobic, that, what would happen if Black women got in a room together, and in that space they were, for that particular time they were free, like what happens. And that's what Big Journey is about. It is about kind of the free expression of Black women that aren't chained down in a way. So I do hope that that is kind of what comes across in with what we do, because we
Well,
do make sure that we're not hindered, our voices aren't hindered.
so I've got you at KEXP.
Yeah, we did that last year. That was really fun. The KXP session. Um, yeah, I mean, we've both been watching KXP sessions for like years and years, so it was amazing to get a chance to do that. And the room's like tiny. It's quite funny to see. It's all kind of covered in lights, but yeah, it was like, I think with Big Journey, like every year we've been kind of being able to accomplish things that we never thought we could accomplish. So that was definitely one of those
Yeah.
things to
there's
tour.
a question actually in the chat that leads on nicely from talking about KXP is Seattle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, Julie, can you
In a
see?
really nice little area with fountains and also the climate change people are there, aren't they?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you're referring to the first question, Cassie. So someone's asked, they said, can I ask, you had that US tour planned in 2023, which got cancelled. Do you have plans to make that tour happen?
Yeah, so the some of the East Coast dates got cancelled because I was like really unwell. I had to have surgery and stuff. And so we are planning to like eventually like redo those dates, because we only managed to go to like New York and Chicago in the end when we were trying to like reschedule. And now our visa's expired. So, but when we could get another US visa,
Yeah.
might have to be for album 3, but we promised to come back because there's like a lot of places that we definitely owe like a good show.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
love you
We
there.
had fun like every place we played. And yeah, people were just really welcoming, which is really lovely, because we never, you don't know what to expect. You've never been to somewhere at those places before, but people were kind of coming out and taking a chance on us, which is lovely. But yeah, hopefully we can come back next year and hopefully they can make the visas cheaper as well, because it's
I
very
think it's been a tough couple of years, or even more. And maybe
yeah.
that's one thing we've learned about life, is that the whirly bird isn't actually a whirly bird. It sort of goes like this, really. And that is also something to share with people, isn't it? That everybody shit happens.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe we could get a bit of insight into how all that happens, because there is another question which I will come back to, but I think following on from that, this kind of goes quite nicely. So someone's asking, what does DIY mean to you? You just suppose DIY to the music industry. How much does Big Joanie have to do with the orthodox things of the music industry? Do you have a booking agent these days, or management? Your public image is one of a big band now. Are you able to stay really DIY? And if so, how?
Yeah, I think that's like a really good question, because like I always think it's so weird that people like, yeah, I guess we seem like a big band when like, I don't know, it's just like it's still me going to the post office when I remember to like send merch or like doing our social media, and like we just like don't have any money. So it's like my personal life hasn't changed that much with like what the 7 years I've been in this band and the 10 years it's been going. But yeah, like I guess for us the shift between like DIY and then like music industry TM is kind of like when we were in like starting off in the DIY scene, like it was kind of like its own, or it is like a supportive community, it felt like I'm from London and I moved back after like living up north for a couple of years. I moved back in 2015 when the DIY space for London was just opening, and so it was like where I was going to socialize, where I was going to learn sound engineering, where Big Joanie were playing gigs, and then also where we in turn started putting on gigs or like holding decolonized fests and stuff. And like there wasn't really, it didn't feel like a separation between like the promoters or the people like at the venue, the people coming to the shows and stuff. Like you could kind of like see the same faces, and it was just like, yeah, a bunch of people kind of like on this call who were like, oh, it'd be cool if these things could happen, if we could have like a feminist punk festival or a black and brown punk festival, and using like whatever like limited means and funds to make it happen. And even before I moved back to London, like I was living in York, and again it was just like a very small like but supportive music scene where everyone's in each other's bands or like borrowing instruments or whatever. And yeah, so it's not like funded or like sponsored by anybody, for example. Whereas now over the years, like we do have these things in place now, like our booking agent Claire had been coming to see us for quite a few years before she actually like spoke to us about wanting to take us on for her booking agency. And like part of it was that we knew that she understood where we came from. Like she runs a booking agency, well, she's one of the founders of a booking agency called Earth that is like founded by 4 women who are all like booking agents, and obviously like have done their time, had like experienced how sexist the industry is and wanted to make something different. And like, from putting on a festival, we know that like booking agents aren't always the friendliest or easiest people to work with. But she's someone who
They're the
understands.
richest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She understands that we're not going to stop doing these like fundraiser DIY shows and things like that. Like, no matter, even if it's going to clash with like a big gig that some other promoters like, oh well, like they shouldn't be playing in London. It's 3 weeks till whatever at the Roundhouse or whatever. It's like Claire really gets that like where we've come from is what makes the band, and it's still important to us. So I think even as we navigate the like bigger music industry and have found ourselves needing help, because like the admin for as we've got figure is like out of control, like we can't do it ourselves. So that's why it's been really helpful to have like someone who understands booking, knows how to do it for like different territories outside the UK, but also like understands us. And I think, yeah, we'd probably say we felt the same about Bella Union, who run a record label, but we're managed by them. They also have a management side. So that's Simon from the Cocteau Twins, and
Oh,
had Abby
what is
Raymond.
his hair like now?
Not much of it. He wears a cap a lot, but like, you know,
Oh, how funny. Sorry.
still doing it, still out here.
But yeah, I think it
Yeah.
is like Estella was saying, like we kind of realized we had to move into that transition into the music industry just because there were just so many things being put on us and we didn't have the answer to it. We had to kind of deal with the reality that we're not, you know, we're not business women necessarily, and we can't do the jobs of 4 or 5 people. So we have had to kind of have management and have people do press sometimes or do our booking agency. But I think we still maintain kind of a DIY ethos, and that I think that is in terms of kind of
I
how
think
we
you do too.
music and how we approach our, you know, ourselves as a band. We don't like have, you know, we're not overly commercial, we're not over consumerist, we don't have, you know, you're not going to see our songs on a Nike advert or something like that. You know, I wouldn't even recommend new bands get management, you know, straight away. I think that's a waste of money. um so I think it is just like about trying to move around the industry in the way that works for you and not in a way that just works for people that want to make money.
Yes.
Well, we're
So
so
this
pleased.
is the whole argument about take over. We can't take over the means of production, but we can. You took ages choosing the right team. Like you say, your agent came to see you loads of times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was look, 5 years. We were together for 5 years, I think. Yeah, until we released our first album. It took us a while to find a record label. And we only found them by chance because Thurston Moore and his partner, then partner Ava, bumped
Yeah.
into the show and they were like, "Oh, we'll put out your record if there's no one else," and it was kind of that simple. Um, and then later we met Kill Rock Stars, so it has just been like a process of just sticking to our vision and making sure there are people that are drawn to us rather than searching people out that are going to be kind of vultures and not the right
And
people.
that is how it used to be in the old days.
Yeah.
You know, you used to go and get your massive deal where you knew exactly what you wanted after you had your huge fan base or your huge. It's so easy now for people to attach themselves to a band and then just disappear.
Well,
So,
actually, funny you should say that. We've got a question, Ngaire, about audiences and hello, other participants who have asked questions. I am tracking them, and I will
I'll
ask
be
them.
quiet.
Through them.
But we've got a question here. It says, are big journey audiences in the UK different from audiences in countries like the USA or the Netherlands, like last year in Amsterdam,
I think they are.
for example?
So I think American audiences are just very, I don't know, jolly. They're just very kind of up for everything. Um, I
They
think there
drink
can
less.
be a sense that sometimes in American crowds can be maybe on the West Coast or on the East Coast can be more diverse because there's a bigger kind of diaspora population there and a bigger kind of, I don't know, more influence kind of around African American communities. So maybe our message can resonate wider there. So that is like a slight difference. I think the UK crowds um are always kind of welcoming and warming. I think we've always had a good audience in the UK, no matter where we are.
Yeah,
I think
it's a
there's
really mixed crowd as well, like in terms of like everything really like age, gender.
yeah,
It's always like different types of people. Sometimes we'll get like parents with their kids as well. Again, of like varying ages as well. It could be like adult kids with their like adult parents even. But
yeah, that's true. There's a lot of dads with daughters.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's really interesting. If you don't mind me asking a question, because the first time I saw you was at the Moss Club, 2018 or
The
2019.
album launch, yeah,
And
yeah.
before I knew anything about you, I just heard your sounds like, oh my God, I need to go and see this band. So I came to see you. And it struck me halfway through your set, which was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I was just looking around at the audience and thinking, how does it feel for you? Because that audience was predominantly white. And I was like, how does that feel for you as performers, performing to an audience that doesn't look like you? And but obviously, from what you're saying, you get all kinds of audiences. It's a wide range.
Yeah, I think like what Steph said as well, like kind of just like there's probably more like just like the greater population of like African American people in terms of like perhaps the black population in this country. Like America is just so big. But also as well, like I think we're really glad that we can attract like a wide mix of people. I think with some of our influences, it makes sense. With just the way that kind of like I think like genre has like historically worked here in like the UK. So like, you know, when I grew up, the impression I was given was that like indie rock, for example, was like white guys with guitars. And like, you know, we now get this Radio 6 play and like people, you know, we all joke about the Radio 6 dads who come and love it. But, you know, and it's all a good humor. We love those guys. But it tends to be that like when we speak to our audiences as well, like even if it's not race that we have in common, it might be like something else that they're connecting with us on, like whether it's, you know, like similar
Oh,
influences, like we could get so many like older punks who were like, oh, I was there at like Rock Against Racism in the 70s and who were there to see the bands who like influenced us, like the Raincoats and Polystyrene and stuff. Or it'll be like younger people like getting into punk and DIY, or like kind of like treading on the same path as us, like being a young person and discovering feminism or black feminism, and then like finding things that are affiliated with it.
yeah.
And yeah, obviously, like, you know, in the UK, class is like a huge topic that you can't really get away from as well. And so, like, yeah, I think there's a lot of different things that we can connect with people on. And
Yeah.
I'm always really impressed at how, like, yeah, just like how welcoming and friendly the
What a
vibe is.
legacy.
Yeah, and I do think
The
our
last
audience,
20 years have not been as bad as we think when you explain it, Estella, that way.
well, hopefully things have changed, I think. I mean, it definitely, because I remember when we started the band and like we kind of, it was the idea that we were kind of going to be a black feminist punk band, and kind of people were a bit like, you know, it got their backs up. It was kind of like seen as being a bit aggressive to mention black, even though there were lots of feminist punk bands. I was in a feminist punk band before, but to kind of mention our race was to be seen as being deliberately kind of antagonistic at that time. So kind of now that it's kind of okay, I think has been like is the result of kind of changing in kind of wider societal politics, whether it's like Black Lives Matter or kind of like maybe the popularity of Afropunk and different things like that, and that are going around the world. But I definitely think we were kind of ahead of the times and just kind of moving with what was going. Well, we started 2013 actually, the summer of Black Lives Matter. I just realized, so maybe it was kind of just us going with the times anyway. Um, but yeah, I think there's definitely been a difference, and from our audiences in 2019, actually, I think they've got more diverse to kind of the last couple of shows, you know, the last year. So I think that is us reaching a wider audience and just reaching out to different people on different platforms, whether it's like, you know, younger people on TikTok and they, you know, they might not listen to Six Music, but they'll watch something and hear a song and want to kind of find out more about it. So I think it is just kind of reaching those different avenues.
So someone's asked a question that I think this follows. It says, It seems frivolous after all these heavy questions. I don't think it is. It says, but I love the covers that you sometimes do, No Scrubs particularly. What others might there be in the pipeline? If each of you could name the top 3 you'd love to cover, even if you'll never actually do them, I'd love to hear that. Thanks. Which I guess is a kind of nod to your influences and the bands that you like.
Well, Steph, you've already, I'm sure, like sent me a list of
did.
covers.
I did. I forgot. Yeah, I really want to do. We haven't prepared it, and I don't think we're going to do it on the tour, obviously. But I want to do a Breeders cover of Safari because I think it really goes with our style, and I love that song. And I think we
sure
could.
They'd love that too.
Yeah, I know, playing
Wouldn't
Safari.
they?
I think that'd be really fun. I think I sent you like an idea of like I was just listening to lots of old reggae. I was like, oh, we could play like an old what's it called? Kingstonian song, Singer Man. That's like it sounds like a punk song. It's like it's weird, like Jamaican reggae song that just sounds really post-punk. It's like, oh, this is so strange. Like I feel like we could do a cover of that. Um, and other than that, I probably would just, you know what? I always wanted to do a Martha song. I love Martha songs. And they wrote the best punk songs. So, how about you?
Yeah, I'd be down for a Martha cover. I can't do that Durham accent, but like
No, I'd have to do that.
I'll get Southern. And then yeah, like I don't know, I always like turning like something like super like poppy or from like a different
I
genre.
prefer your Solange version of Cranes in the Sky. No offense meant.
Oh, we still love Solange.
Yeah,
I just love that whole thing. I don't know.
yeah, it's just like it's really fun to change the sound of something or like yeah to just kind of like make it a bit your own and but still like pay homage to something as well. I really
My
like that.
favorite, my favorite Big Joanie cover is you, Estella. I've got somewhere in the depth of my phone clouds. I'm going to save it for a rainy day. I've got you doing oh God, what is it? Is it Shaggy? It wasn't me. And it's just a beautiful performance at karaoke
Okay.
years ago.
I was like, oh, where did I do that? But that does sound like me, yeah. I also did a great Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B cover doing both parts.
Oh yeah, I've heard
Um,
it.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if we'll manage to do it for Big Joni, but it's in there.
I think that's got to happen in Hastings, isn't it, Julie?
I think the gauntlet's down, guys. Yeah. Expectations are now high.
Yeah.
There's one.
Did you just want to mention about Hastings as well? You had a couple of questions about.
Oh yeah, well, because I mean, I came to the Decolonise Fest, the polystyrene weekend, so I'm like super excited to be bringing you, or that you are coming to Polly's adoptive hometown. So I was just wondering if you'd been here before and seen the blue plaque, and if you're planning to get here early and come and see it, and actually just wondering about, you know, the kind of significance that she has on Big Joanie, and you know, how does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I've not been to Hastings before. I don't think we played before, but yeah, that would be lovely to see, to kind of visit that and visit the Blue Plaque. I think, yeah, polystyrene is probably kind of one of the most kind of up there, kind of with my influences, I'd say. I remember hearing Oh Bondage Up Yours when I was maybe like 14 or 15. And I didn't really understand what the lyrics were about. I thought it was like really naughty or something. So I was listening like, on my like so my mom wouldn't hear. But yeah, I feel like that was kind of like my first connection, one of my early connections with punk, and kind of I instantly recognized Clocked as like this really cool black girl that's kind of in punk, and you know, it was just like a little bit of a lifeline. So yeah, I think she's like XO Spex has been a huge influence, and we've got the chance to chat to her daughter a few times as well. And I spoke to her when they're recording like their film as well and their book. And yeah, it's just amazing that she got a chance to kind of really seal in her mother's legacy in a way that no one else could. I think it was kind of a fully rounding off the story, and I think she can just be happy that that kind of her story has been told and very well.
Very good. Yeah, for both of them as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
For her and her daughter.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of very cathartic and really emotional watching the film. Completely emotional.
There's a good question here. It's quite a nice kind of rounding off question. You were asked about Decolonize Fest. I always associate you really closely with Decolonize, not just organisationally, but also as a band. Who else should we know about who's emerging from that scene? So that's a good kind of passing the mic question there.
Like, well, I feel like a lot of bands have passed through and now like doing amazing things. Like we've had Nova Twins in the past, Bob Villain, Divide and Dissolve, and like bands like Fraulein and White Lands as well. So it's really cool to see those bands kind of popping off. So anyone who doesn't know White Lands, they're like a shoegaze band. Their bassist Vanessa also plays live with us. She plays guitar and synth with us. But yeah, I think White Lands played the first Decolonize Fest when they were like still teenagers and just like a two-piece. So yeah, it's really nice to see them like now going on tour with Slow Dive and having an album out and being like in this new era of shoegaze that's making such a big comeback with like young people as well. It's amazing to be down the front for the Slow Dive gig and see like this whole new young audience. Like really excited to see White Lands. Other like bands we've had like Curls, if you know them, from Brighton. Another like great sort of like young punky like political band. Obviously I mentioned Fraulein, like a great two-piece. I think Joanie
And they're supporting you, Fraulein, aren't they?
Yeah, they've been on tour with us, and yeah, their lead singer is called Joanie, so that worked out very well.
Perfect.
And,
yeah, we love Fraulein. Yeah.
And that's after the Breeders' support, isn't it? So we got you at the Meltdown Festival, which will be fantastic. And then you're doing the Breeders' Tour, and then you're going off to do some gigs in France and Germany on your own.
So we're a bit back and forth this summer. So we're starting Ramsgate this Sunday with tour. First time at the Ramsgate Music Hall. I've heard it's like a really like incredible venue. So really excited. Then next week we're in Paris, Antwerp, and Amsterdam with Bikini Kill, opening 3 of their shows and also doing our own set. So and then we come back and do like Shaka Khan's Meltdown, a couple of dates with the Breeders. We're coming to Hastings, we're going to Liverpool, and then we're back out with the Breeders again to do like Germany and France, and then like possibly another German date doing our own thing, but I'm waiting for it to be announced. But,
Yeah.
And everyone can find out this via your website, can't they? Book tickets that way.
Yeah, all the ticket links get put on there. I think through like bands in town or something. So it should all be there, or like just like.
Oh, you're gonna have such fun. Stay healthy, eat well, drink lots of water. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, we don't really party on
You're
tour.
adults.
We're in our 30s now. We've got to take care of ourselves.
Lots of tea and fruit.
Oh, you're ancient.
Yeah, definitely.
Little babies.
Thank
we do
you
actually have herbal tea on the lighter.
Thank you so much, Steph and Estella, for joining us today. Thank you, Ngaire and Julie, for hosting with me. We're so looking forward to hosting you in Hastings on the 29th of June. But yeah, best of luck with all of the dates on that incredible tour.
I bought tickets for Queen Elizabeth Hall, actually. But then
Excellent.
with Norman J after taking the old man. Oh, I shouldn't call him an old man.
I think he'll survive. Ngaire. He'll be
He'll be all
fine.
right.
He is old.
Oh my God, you get to meet Sheka Khan. You have
It's
to get
gonna be, yeah.
selfies
She
with
did.
Sheka
She did
Khan.
Brixton Disco Festival a couple of years ago. We love her, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know if we get to
Yeah,
meet her, but crossing my fingers because
yeah. Did you meet
Sneaking
Grace
up.
Jones very quickly? Because she did the meltdown before. Did you meet her, Grace Jones, when you were there?
I watched her performance, the closing performance
Yeah.
of the festival. But yeah, again, I think she was far too busy being a queen to hang with
You
us.
wanted to get on the tube and get home. I know exactly what's that like. Get home for a cup of tea. I relate.
We've got people
Sorry.
here thanking you for your time, Big Joanie. So huge thank you from everyone. And somebody who's been part of this webinar is going to see you in Amsterdam. They've joined all the way from Amsterdam, so that's amazing.
Oh,
We love Amsterdam. We always love playing there. We've played like so many times.
Yeah,
Well, it's worked. You've converted them.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool. Okay, thanks guys so much, and we'll see you soon.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
See you on the
bye
29th.
everybody. Nice to
Bye-bye.
see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Great to meet you.